Jude, a seasoned taxi driver, navigated the labyrinthine streets of the city with ease, his headlights cutting through the darkness like beacons in the night. As he received an online booking, he accepted it without a second thought, eager to pick up his passenger from Parker Hotel to their destination. Nestled at the heart of the city, the Parker Hotel stood as a grand testament to a bygone era. Its towering facade, adorned with intricate carvings and ornate balconies, cast a shadow over the bustling streets below. Yet behind its opulent exterior lay a darker tale, one whispered in hushed tones among the locals. Legend had it that the Parker Hotel was haunted, its halls echoing with the ghostly footsteps of a mysterious figure known only as the Lady. Stories of her looking for her child and spectral presence had been passed down through generations, woven into the fabric of the city's folklore. Arriving at the designated hotel, Jude's heart skipped a beat as he caught sight of his passenger, a figure clad in pristine white, their features obscured by the shadows of the night. Without a word spoken, the mysterious passenger slipped into the back seat of Jude's taxi, their presence unsettling in its silence. Jude couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that settled over him as he stole glances at the woman in his rearview mirror. Her presence in the back seat seemed to cast a pall over the entire taxi, her silhouette haunting yet filled with an inexplicable sorrow. With a deep breath to steady his nerves, Jude resolved to break the uneasy silence that hung heavy in the air. "Are you all right back there?" he ventured, his voice laced with concern. The woman's reflection remained unmoving, her features obscured by the dim light of the taxi's interior. But there was a heaviness to her presence, a weight that seemed to press down upon Jude's shoulders with each passing moment. As the miles stretched on and the city lights flickered past like distant stars, Jude couldn't help but feel a pang of empathy for the mysterious woman in his back seat. Her sadness was palpable, radiating from her like a tangible force that enveloped them both in its embrace. "I'm here if you need to talk," Jude offered softly, his words a whisper against the silence of the night. But the woman remained silent, her sorrow etched into the lines of her face like a map of forgotten dreams. With a sense of unease gnawing at him, Jude reached out to switch on the radio, hoping to break the oppressive silence that enveloped the taxi. But as the static-filled sound emanated from the speakers, it seemed to twist and distort into something altogether more sinister, a cacophony of eerie whispers and disembodied voices that sent shivers racing down Jude's spine. Fingers trembling, Jude hastily silenced the radio, the silence that followed seeming to amplify the sense of foreboding that hung heavy in the air. The darkness outside pressed in against the windows, the night alive with unseen shadows that danced along the edges of his vision. As Jude's gaze flickered to the rearview mirror, his heart skipped a beat at the sight of his passenger. The woman's reflection remained unchanged, her features still obscured by the veil of darkness that enveloped the back seat. But there was something in the depths of her eyes, a glimmer of something otherworldly that sent a chill racing down Jude's spine. Ignoring the chill that crept up his spine, Jude focused on the task at hand, the engine humming beneath him as they embarked on their journey. But as they passed beneath a desolate bridgeway, a sense of unease settled over him like a suffocating blanket, the air thick with a palpable sense of foreboding. The atmosphere grew heavy with silence, broken only by the steady hum of the engine and the rhythmic patter of rain against the windshield. Jude stole a glance at his passenger through the rear-view mirror, but their reflection remained shrouded in darkness, an enigmatic silhouette against the night. Suddenly, a voice pierced the silence, a whisper so faint it seemed to emanate from the very depths of the shadows. "Stop the car," it commanded, its tone icy and unyielding. A chilling command shattered the stillness, a guttural, devilish voice slicing through the air with merciless authority. "Stop the car!" Jude's heart lurched in his chest as he obeyed, each beat hammering against his ribs like a desperate plea for salvation. The darkness, thick and suffocating, closed in around him, its weight bearing down like the crushing grip of a malevolent force. With hands trembling uncontrollably, Jude brought the taxi to a sudden, jarring halt, the engine's feeble whimpers fading into the oppressive silence that engulfed them. As he turned to confront the back seat, terror gripped him in its icy grasp. A cold sweat broke out across Jude's brow as he turned in his seat, his eyes scanning the darkness beyond the taxi's windows for any sign of the mysterious passenger. But the night offered no answers, only an eerie stillness that hung heavy in the air like a shroud. With a shaky breath, Jude forced himself to confront the unsettling reality before him. The passenger had vanished without a trace. The passenger, the harbinger of this unearthly command, had vanished into the void, leaving behind only the haunting echo of her scream. Jude's mind raced with primal fear, every instinct screaming at him to flee from the unknown horrors that lurked in the shadows. Jude's heart hammered against his chest as he complied, the weight of the darkness pressing in around him like a vice. With trembling hands, he brought the taxi to a halt, the engine falling silent as the night enveloped them in its embrace. The passenger's voice cut through the silence once more, their words dripping with an otherworldly chill. "Take me to the place where my heart belongs," she intoned, their words sending shivers racing down Jude's spine. Paralyzed by fear, Jude could only watch in horror as the passenger's form began to shift and contort, their features melting into an amorphous mass of darkness. With a guttural roar, the darkness consumed them whole, leaving behind nothing but an empty void. At that moment, Jude knew that he had ventured into the realm of the supernatural, a world where nightmares lurked just beyond the veil of reality. Terror gripped Jude's heart as he witnessed the inexplicable scene unfolding before his eyes. The woman he had felt pity for, now vanished from the back seat, stood outside the taxi, cradling a child whose translucent form flickered in the dim light. A chilling realization washed over Jude like a wave crashing upon the shore. The demand to stop the car was not an act of malevolence, but a desperate plea from a grieving mother longing to be reunited with her spectral child. As Jude's breath caught in his throat, he watched in awe and trepidation as the ethereal figures of the woman and child ascended, their souls merging into the night sky like wisps of smoke fading into the ether. In that fleeting moment, Jude understood the depth of the woman's yearning, the unbreakable bond between mother and child that transcended the barriers between the living and the dead. A sense of profound reverence washed over Jude as he bore witness to the profound beauty of their reunion. It was a moment that defied explanation, a glimpse into the mysteries of the universe that left him humbled and awestruck. And as the last vestiges of their presence faded from view, Jude felt a profound sense of peace settle over him. For in that fleeting encounter, he had glimpsed the true power of love, a force that could span lifetimes and traverse the boundaries of existence itself. With a newfound sense of clarity and purpose, Jude turned back to the road ahead, the memory of the woman and child etched into his heart forever. As he continued on his journey through the night, he carried with him the knowledge that some bonds were truly unbreakable, even in the face of death itself. Once upon a time in a quaint little town, there lived a young woman named Casey. She had always been captivated by the allure of antiques and had a deep appreciation for the stories they held. Casey would spend hours exploring antique shops, searching for hidden treasures that spoke to her soul. One fateful day, her love for antiques led her to a dusty old shop tucked away in a forgotten corner of town. As she stepped inside, the air was thick with the scent of history. The shopkeeper greeted Casey with a warm smile and pointed her towards a corner of the store where a peculiar item stood. It was an old, rusty cabinet, adorned with intricate carvings and elegant brass handles. Despite its worn appearance, there was an undeniable charm that drew Casey towards it. As Casey stood before the old rusty cabinet, she couldn't help but feel a mixture of fascination and unease. The shopkeeper's words echoed in her mind. "Take it. It will heal you," urging her to take a leap of faith. She hesitated, unsure of the true meaning behind the shopkeeper's cryptic statement. With a deep breath, Casey reached out and ran her fingers along the intricate carvings that adorned the cabinet's surface. There was a strange energy emanating from it, both captivating and unsettling. The cabinet seemed to hold a secret, a story waiting to be unveiled. Unable to resist the cabinet's allure, Casey decided to purchase it and bring it home. She envisioned it as the centerpiece of her room, a beautiful addition to her collection of antique treasures. Little did she know this seemingly innocent purchase would unleash a series of paranormal activities that would forever change her life. As Casey placed the cabinet in her room, she couldn't help but feel a strange energy emanating from it. It was as if the cabinet had a story to tell, one that was waiting to be unraveled. Ignoring the uneasiness that crept up her spine, Casey settled into her bed that night, unaware of the horrors that awaited her. In the darkness of the night, Casey was abruptly awakened by a bone-chilling sensation. She felt a cold, icy grip on her arm, and as she turned her head, her heart skipped a beat. There, hovering above her, were a pair of black, ghostly hands. They seemed to radiate an otherworldly coldness that sent shivers down her spine. Paralyzed with fear, Casey could do nothing but watch as the hands slowly retreated into the cabinet. The following nights became a living nightmare for Casey. She would wake up to the sound of a child's cry, echoing through the walls of her room. The cry was filled with anguish and despair, piercing through the silence of the night. Casey searched her room, but there was no sign of any child. The cries continued, haunting her every night, leaving her exhausted and terrified. To make matters worse, the cabinet began to exhibit strange behavior. It would open on its own, revealing its dark and empty interior. No matter how hard Casey tried to secure the doors, they would swing open without any assistance. It was as if an unseen force was beckoning her, inviting her into the depths of its mysterious past. Casey's fear grew with each passing day. She found herself unable to sleep, constantly on edge, and plagued by the paranormal activities that surrounded the cabinet. She brushed off the eerie occurrences, attributing them to her overactive imagination. But one fateful evening, as she stood before her mirror applying makeup, she heard a faint voice, a child's whisper urging, "Open! Open!" Startled, Casey spun around, her heart racing. Her gaze darted to the cabinet looming in the corner of the room. A sliver of its door stood ajar, beckoning her with a sinister invitation. Trembling with fear, she hesitated, unsure of what lay beyond. Summoning her courage, Casey tiptoed towards the cabinet, her pulse pounding in her ears. Peering through the crack, she gasped in horror. Inside, nestled amidst darkness and decay, lay a spectral figure, a little girl, her skin ashen and mottled with decay. Frozen in terror, Casey's grip faltered, and she stumbled backward, collapsing to the floor in a heap. At that moment, the cabinet's door swung wide, revealing the ghastly sight in its entirety. The ghostly apparition of the child, trapped in a macabre state of decay, filled her vision with dread. With a primal scream, Casey bolted from the room, her heart consumed by a primal fear. Racing through the house, she sought refuge from the nightmare that had invaded her home. Determined to find answers and put an end to the torment, Casey embarked on a journey to uncover the dark secrets hidden within the cabinet's past. Through extensive research and countless hours spent at the local library, Casey discovered a chilling tale that sent shivers down her spine. It was said that many years ago, a child had been tortured by his father and left to die inside the very cabinet she now owned. The child's suffering had been unimaginable, trapped within the confines of the cabinet until his last breath. As Casey delved deeper into the history of the cabinet, she couldn't help but feel a deep sense of empathy for the tortured soul. She realized that the paranormal activities she experienced were the cries for help from the child's restless spirit, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. Fueled by empathy and a longing to ease the suffering of the tormented spirit, Casey reached out to a respected paranormal investigator. With their guidance, they embarked on a journey to free the trapped soul and bring closure to the haunting that plagued her home. Gathered in solemn reverence, they conducted a cleansing ritual, their voices rising in prayer as incense wafted through the air. Amidst the flickering candlelight, they invoked ancient blessings, seeking to unravel the enigma that bound the lost soul to the mortal realm. As the ceremony unfolded, a profound stillness settled over the room, the weight of ages pressing down upon them. And then, in a moment of transcendent clarity, the child's ghost materialized before them. her form shrouded in spectral light. At first she appeared as she had in death, her skin pallid and marred by decay. But as the ritual progressed, a miraculous transformation took place. The ethereal veil that cloaked her began to dissipate, revealing a radiant visage of innocence and purity. With a gentle smile, the child reached out to Casey, her eyes brimming with gratitude and peace. And in that fleeting moment of connection, the shackles of anguish that bound her soul were finally broken. As the last echoes of the ritual faded into the ether, the child's spirit ascended, her essence merging with the boundless expanse of the heavens. And with her departure, a profound sense of serenity settled over the room, casting aside the shadows of fear and uncertainty. In the wake of their shared ordeal, Casey and the paranormal expert stood in silent reverence, their hearts uplifted by the triumph of compassion over darkness. For in that fleeting encounter, they had borne witness to the transcendent power of love and the enduring promise of redemption that lay within us all. Slowly but surely, the paranormal activities began to subside. The cries of the child grew fainter, and the cabinet remained closed, no longer inviting Casey into its dark depths. It seemed that the restless spirit had finally found the peace it had longed for. Casey's encounter with the haunted cabinet had left an indelible mark on her soul. It had taught her the power of love, empathy, and the resilience of the human spirit. As she moved forward, she carried the lessons learned from her harrowing experience, forever grateful for the opportunity to bring peace to a tormented soul. And so, Casey's journey with the old rusty cabinet came full circle. What had once been a source of unease and uncertainty had blossomed into a profound connection and a catalyst for personal growth. The shopkeeper's words had held true. The cabinet had indeed healed Casey's soul and ignited a spark within her that would forever guide her towards a life of purpose and fulfillment.